No.
Well, we're live, and
Are
Alan,
we?
yeah, and you don't even have coffee, Alan. You're an imposter.
I've been up since 2:30,
Yeah.
and I've had 2 cups of coffee already, which typically is my kind of limit. And I had both those cups of coffee before 5:30. So
Mm, mm. Well, I'm not waking up at 2:30 for any reason
yeah.
other than yeah, no, I'm not. Period. Um, my new life is like try to go to bed at 9 o'clock at night and try to get 7 hours of sleep in. So
Well, I went to bed at 9:30. So I mean, is that 5 hours?
mm, yeah, well, that's good for you, right? That's more
That's
than
that 5 hours is. I mean, look, if I can get 5 hours, I feel like I've achieved something.
you're doing something right.
The problem is 2:30 makes like when I get to 11, yeah, yeah, I crash a little bit,
Mm.
but I got a
Well,
lot done.
let's talk a little bit about schedule and time management. Let's make our next 10 or 15 minutes.
What can I tell you first of all on that? So my
Yeah.
wife bought me these little magnets that so that she can put things on my calendar or put things on my whiteboard for me. And so the first thing she did was she came in and she wrote Monday through Friday. I erased Friday. She put SB. You know what that is?
No.
Has to do with a drink.
I have no idea.
Starbucks.
Oh.
So every day she's like, your task is to go get me a drink.
That's good. I like that.
So yeah. So I erase it on the days I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
She has not agreed to that, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, you bring up a great point because right now, and I think anybody that watches this later on, well, first, thanks for watching it. I was just saying to Alan before we started this live, I think this is as much for Alan and I's therapy as it is for anybody that is finding value in it. It's probably more valuable for us, to be honest. But we both have come through a season or in a season right now where, frankly, we're getting drained. We're busier than we've ever been in our lives. We're juggling we got a lot of balls in the air, and we're wearing a lot of hats and all those cliches. So let's just talk about lessons we're learning, things that we're doing or going to start doing to try to be better stewards of our time, and make sure that we're not making sacrifices in the roles that we've been called to lead, in the ways we've been called to serve for companies' sake. Yeah.
Yeah.
So number one pain point for you right now, what is the thing right now for you that has become the most difficult should we just mention real quick? So Alan is working full time as a consultant for a Fortune 100 company in the manufacturing space. He is pushing forward with his own business, ICA, right, which is all about making control at the edge and digital transformation a reality. And of course, your role here with Integrate Live, right? So those are your three hats in the business world right now.
I'm also chairman of our elder board.
Yeah.
I have to preach, not unfortunately, but here's why I just preached a couple weeks ago, and what I found was when I wasn't as busy, I could take dedicated time to prepare,
Yeah.
and so my biggest problem right now is faithfulness to really have my priorities aligned, right? So I get paid by a company for 40 hours a week
Yep.
to do consulting. Now, currently, the workload there is not a lot, but faithfulness is important, right? So making sure that I'm doing what I can, how I can for them, and doing the best I can.
Right.
And then so I'm trying to start at 5:30. They're Eastern and Central, and then from 2:30 or 3 o'clock, I'm working till 5, trying to take care of manage things that my son who works for me is kind of driving on the other company side.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to be done by 5 so that I can give my wife and Micah, who's still in our home, dedicated time that's good, right? That's not
Right.
just me there. And that's been difficult because been like, I just want to veg instead of, and then my wife is now dealing with, this is probably a lot more than you probably wanted, but my wife's dealing with a new diagnosis of RA and has been very impactful to her and to how I serve her well and make sure that I'm doing what I can for her. So and then I have friends that I love and I care for
Right.
that hey, can you come and I want to put a kitchen in my garage,
Right.
and can you
Right.
come and do all the electrical for me for free?
Right.
Hey, I've got this little welding project. Can you weld up this thing for me?
Right.
So I'm doing all that. Plus, I still have to try to finish my kitchen. So here's where, and I'll finish my piece of it here. Here's where I've been finding myself um, struggling the most. I get into these moments where I don't know if it's feeling overwhelmed or just feeling like, oh, I just want to like shut my brain off to all these things I'm thinking about and either go on my phone and just like veg out on,
Mm.
either LinkedIn or like YouTube, and trying to fight that temptation to just like, I don't want to face anything. And so so I'm hiring my mother, which is interesting enough, which because I can have her keep me accountable to my schedule,
Yeah.
things that like things. So I'm looking forward to that, and she's gonna help with both of us on some things. But
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but that's what is on my, like, every day I wake up, I'm thinking about, okay, faithfulness,
Mm-hmm.
be committed to do the things you need to do, try to let the small things go and delegate more to my son. And so, yeah.
And so, for clarification, so your son has joined ICA.
He is
That's not
pretty much,
right. This is Nicholas. Or
yeah,
Nick.
yeah. So, and it's interesting because he's going to school to get his cloud infrastructure degree,
Nice.
right? And so he's asked me multiple times, what do I do? Do I follow through and finish my degree, or do I focus on this? And I said, look, you need to decide. It's not something like you can go either way, right? So currently he's going to put it on hold and really focus on trying to help me carry some of this load. So I appreciate that, and you know I think the degree, though it's good, is not the thing that you're going to. It may get you into an interview, but it will not get you the job. What's going to get you the job is the fact that you've done the work, you've proven you can do the work, you're efficient, and you have a reputation that will convince somebody to hire you.
Yeah.
So
I have a good friend who's 10 years younger than me. Oh geez, 15 years younger than me. Jared Wood, super bright young man. Got discharged out of Army Special Forces for a health diagnosis out of his control, and has found himself now going a different. He's got his 4-year degree, but I want to go to one of the top business schools in the country, type of a thing. And so actually right now he's driving all of his things to Austin, Texas. He's going to be at University of Austin, University of Texas, Austin, and enrolled in their master's business program, which is like a top 10 in the country, really good school. And I was walking with him in all of this decision making about, because he was looking at Wharton and he was looking at these Ivy League schools, and he said, I guess like 3 years from now, if the most interesting thing about me is where I went to get my MBA, he said, I failed, right? I was like, yeah, I think so. Like it's going to probably matter for your first interview, but at the end of the day, it's only going to open doors for that first interview. And
Right.
once you got the first one, like from there, it's no longer about where did you go to school. It, maybe in some, some aspects, but not in what he wants to do. And same for your son. That's it. All right, so let's shift. So for me, real quick, it's Canary, it's Integrate Live, and it's Flow Software. These are the 3 hats professionally that I'm wearing, and 40 hours, if not more, a week has to be dedicated to Canary. Just the same world that you're in, and faithfulness is super important. The problem I've really run into is being efficient. So how do I work throughout the day and get everything that needs done with Integrate Live, Canary, and then help with Flow, and do it in an efficient manner? Where I'll give you a great example of, for instance, I have found myself here in my house walking around a bit aimlessly between rooms. Like I'll be carrying something somewhere, and then I'll see something else, and I'll sit it down, not actually getting it to its destination, and I'll go over and I'll fool with the other thing, and then I'll get distracted by something else and I'll fool with that thing. And 3 hours later, I come back through the room like, oh, I never carried that thing to the garage that I started with, right?
Yeah.
So how do I force and I think I didn't used to do that. I think I'm doing that now because I've actually started doing that in my work life. And so I've created these bad habits. And so I have to get a central calendar organized. I have to start blocking out dedicated work time for Canary first. Like I cannot be disrupted during my Canary time. And I have to also make sure that Integrate Live excels, and we have a financial obligation to make sure Integrate Live excels, an obligation to each other, an obligation to the community, as well as I have big plans at Flow Software that I'm excited to be a part of. So I want to share the first step that I've taken in the last 3 weeks. So first is I purchased an annual subscription with Calendar Bridge, which will allow us, because I'm a part of 3 different separate domains, right? So whether it's Microsoft 365 or Google Business accounts, we've got these different calendars. Calendar Bridge basically feeds all of those calendars, or subscribes to all of those calendars, and then publishes all 3 or 4 or 5 of those calendars onto a new calendar for me. So that includes my personal family calendar that I share with my wife and my kids. And so now I have one master calendar that I can look at that shows me my entire engagement, as well as if I have something of a family commitment, I need to run a kid somewhere, or we're taking a vacation, that personal tidbit comes onto my master calendar. And then
can you tie your wife's calendar to it?
I could, but I wouldn't want to. And here's why. My family calendar, only things that I physically am committed to in that moment are on that, are coming in, right? Like the fact that Eli goes to a doctor's appointment this morning at 9:30 doesn't involve me. I need to know about it, but I don't want that on my master calendar. And here's why. They have scheduling software, so now I can create links for me for Canary, for Flow, and for Integrate Live, include them in my email address type of thing. And you can book availability off of that master calendar. So I wouldn't want my son's doctor's appointment to keep someone from being able to book 15 or 30 minutes with me this morning, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm driving him to that appointment, then all of a sudden that becomes important and the calendar needs to know about it. What I'm also doing at the exact same time, since I'm looking at my calendar, I'm focusing on my calendar, is I've got 2 problems I noticed. One is that distracted easily problem. And so I'm starting to chunk dedicated portions of time on my calendar. But the second is my physical and mental health. I'm getting drained, and it's because I'm not taking care of myself. I had about an extra 10 pounds of weight I wasn't happy with. I'm not doing regular cardio or strength training, these types of things. And a lot of my job is I have to think creatively as well. And so I've actually done what I've needed to do to chunk up my day. So now every day from 11 till 1, my time zone, I am unavailable on that calendar. And from 11 to 1 is when I'm eating healthy. I'm going to be working out. I'm doing all those things that some people might do early in the morning. You and I need our early mornings for additional time zone support, basically, right? So there's my 2 secrets that I'm putting into practice that I will report on in 30 days and let you know how it goes.
Well, I'm gonna be checking out the calendar bridge because that's a big problem for me. I'm sitting at my desk here and I've got one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens, and they all do different things. I have my consulting computer that the company I work for sent me. I've got my other company computer that has my calendar on it. I've got my elder stuff, so to make sure that, hey, if there's something I need to address, that I'm accessible to that. And
Yep.
then, but it's like trying to balance those things and make sure that because I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but my wife's convinced that I have it. She's probably right, but the point is that I can, if I can get myself into a state of flow, man, the amount of work I can achieve and get done is amazing. But keeping myself in that state of flow with all the distractions that are around me have been very challenging. So trying to figure out how can I get everything sent so I don't miss anything,
Yes,
but can turn it off. And that's what I'm hoping my mom can also help too, to say, hey, you've got something coming up in 15 minutes, or, I mean, you have the calendar updates too, but still it's like, I'd like to be able to say, I'm going to spend an hour working on this thing and turn everything off and not be distracted.
and
that would be amazing.
If there's an emergency, your mom has the ability to come through, but nothing else can, right?
Yeah.
Meaning that there's a calendar emergency, not just a personal emergency, but a work. And so that's exactly what I'm doing on my calendar. And I'm excited about having your mom as available to me as well as part of Integrate Live. So,
just for the record, she spent her whole career as an executive administrator to these big businesses that she managed, the CEO's time and all that stuff. Yeah. So it's what she did. I don't know why I didn't think about it before, but she's retired, but she's like willing to do it for me. So I'm like, yes.
And your new adoptive son, Jeff. I've already created folders in my Outlook, right? My main email and I think I'll just basically create a new master Outlook that everything filters into. So I'm looking at one place, but she'll have the ability to categorize for me, hey, urgent, you have to look at this, might be important, or definitely junk, pay no attention. Everything's going to start getting workflowed, and I'm not going to live in my email anymore. I'm going to give myself 30 minutes on email in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon, 30 minutes at the end of business, right? I'm dedicating creative blocks of content in my calendar. You'll only be able to book me for meetings in 2 different time chunks per day. Now it'll be, it's like 3-hour chunks in the morning, 3-hour chunks in the afternoon, but I'll be officially on the clock from 6 a.m. until 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. till 2 p.m. on Friday. And I'll probably build myself in 2 hours Saturday morning, depending if I need that for other things. But, the thing that is actually right now my biggest focus is on the physical, on the exercise side, because I don't think my 45 or 50 hours a week of work life is going to be valuable if my spiritual and my physical health is not at top performance and top peak. And so I think by really focusing back on those foundational things, I think when I know how that'll work in our work lives.
Well, it's a good challenge for me too, because I work really hard on my disciplines on the spiritual side. What I have let go is my eating, exercise, and the things I need to, because it's like, okay, I can cut those, I can let those go because
Mhm.
I got to get this other stuff done.
Yeah.
But you know, just got to like get back into the discipline of, okay, I've got a meeting that I need to be attentive to, but I don't need to be on my computer. I'm gonna go, you know, I'm gonna go walk a mile while I'm on the meeting.
Yeah.
Those type of things of just being intentional about. So
That's a
yeah,
good idea. I like the idea of doing some exercise during a meeting, because what you're essentially doing is building out a network of, hey, I'm having a heart attack. Here's where I am. Can you call paramedics? That's
yeah.
wise. That's wise. All right. Well, hey, speaking of meetings, it's time for me and probably you to hop onto our next one.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for the good open conversation, and looking forward to follow up on seeing how this goes. So, how about 30 days from now, we'll do a follow up and share our experience on how our life has either gotten better or gotten worse as a result of these new time blocks.
Yeah.
All right, bud. Have a great day.
All right. Later, man.
All right, see everybody.